We are witnessing a cultural shift in this country that we haven't seen since the 1950s, where all the progressive movements have been suppressed. Anything that was anti-establishment was immediately considered a communist threat and a national security matter, and anyone who is even given a hint of culpability in anything that wasn't 100% pro-America, pro-family values, begins to lose all of their rights as a citizen in this country. The cinchpin for all of this is the re-election of Donald Trump. Given everything that happened in his prior administration, his re-election was the last Hail Mary that the conservative movement was relying heavily on, because if he did not get re-elected, then the Conservative Party would have been completely dismantled. But that's not what happened. Right now, as it stands, the United States will have a conservative president, a conservative Congress in both houses, and a conservative majority Supreme Court. But there's more than just the Supreme Court. There are the district courts, and then there are the circuit courts. Right now, with U.S. district courts, there's a lead by the Democrats, 384 to 257. But there's a vacancy now of 37 judgeships. If you add that up together, the Democrats still have the lead by almost 100 judges. But that is a narrowing gap, and who knows what else will happen in the next 4 years. When it comes to the circuit courts, you see the Democrats have 88 and the Republicans have 89, so they're ahead by 1. But there are 3 vacancies to that, which means, the Republicans are just going to maintain that lead. Now, since the election of Donald Trump, we have seen this overall conservative leaning of U.S. law, and that's a big deal. We all know that judges are supposed to be impartial to politics and they are just supposed to have their lens put through the law, but they are human beings. So you will have judges that are either more liberal, more conservative, and that is what America is facing. Now, a country's law is reflective of its culture, and our culture is being manipulated by several outlets, mainly social media. Aside from all the American platforms making it very clear that they are going to be in full compliance with the Trump administration, we have now seen a deal struck between TikTok, which is in essence a Chinese app, and Donald Trump. Take a look at the welcome back. As a result of President Trump's efforts, TikTok is back in the US. There is no social media platform anywhere near as influential as TikTok right now, and Trump has it by the scrotum. The way that a government controls its masses is through its law, its press, and of course religion, and the conservative movement has all 3. All of this is going to be used to drastically reshape our overall culture. And it's possible that the conservatives want to turn the clock back to when they believe times were better. There is always this mold or paradigm that the conservatives believe we should all be. Men should be hardworking, not questioning of their bosses. Women should be good wives who take care of their kids. Everyone is ideally Christian and they go to church every Sunday. Anything out of that norm was considered a threat to either the family unit or a threat to the United States and had to be attacked with extreme prejudice. It gave the system a great deal of power to abuse the basic rights of any of these citizens that were considered threats. Just look at how people were treated during the civil rights movement. If I'm right about all of this, we are going to start seeing some wild acts of legislation passed in the next 4 to 8 years. Legislation that you never would have thought could have been passed in this day and age. And there are a lot of young, defiant people who are like, well, we're not going to let that happen because we are going to protest. Maybe we'll even start doing riots and we'll destroy a bunch of real estate. All right, but the conservatives already have that planned. It's already been made clear from members of Trump's previous administration that they will most likely invoke the Insurrection Act of 1807, where they will actually bring in the U.S. military to take out these protests and riots if need be. I suggest you read this Atlantic article. Emergency powers are about to be tested. Look at what it says about Trump's use of extraordinary powers. Half the country is saying, yeah, let's effing go, but the other half is probably a little upset and they feel powerless. The greatest weapon at everyone's disposal is the United States Constitution, one of the greatest documents ever written. Now, there will be legislation passed that will stretch what's within the bounds of this document, but it is still something we all have to uphold. And remember, because of who's in office, we are going to see tax hikes for the bottom 95% and tax breaks for the other 5%, which means money may get a little tighter for the most of us. So we have to figure out how our money works and how to make it work for us. We need to become financially empowered, aside from legally. Third is we need to learn how a community works again. We need to get to know our neighbor. Even if we are at politically opposite ends of the spectrum, it's up to us to just know what it's like to be a part of something beyond ourselves. It could be with a church. It could even be with something extracurricular. Who knows? It's up to you. Last but far from least, we have to get into local politics. You have to figure out what's going on in your town, what's going on in your county, and of course, you have to vote for members of Congress. The day of the keyboard warrior has to be over. We can't just type or voice our discontent and expect that to be enough. We have to put one foot in front of the other, in order to actually move forward. This won't be quick and it won't be easy. We are in for a bumpy ride for at least 2 years and most likely 2 years after that. But I would rather put in those 4 years or 6 years or 8 years trying to build something better and lasting than just feeling this despoilment. I am the Geo Husar, and we are the solution for what we're up against right now. Thanks for watching.